Lovesick, formerly known as Scrotal Recall, is a British sitcom created by Tom Edge, which was first broadcast on Channel 4 in October 2014. And it stars Johnny Flynn, Antonia Thomas, Daniel Ings, Hannah Britland, and Joshua McGuire. After the show was originally aired on Channel 4, it was made available by Netflix, who then commissioned the second season globally on the 17th of November 2016, where it was billed as a Netflix original. The show was renewed for third season, which was released exclusively on Netflix on the 1st of January 2018. The first series was made available on Netflix in the United States in April 2015. The show found enough success on the site that Netflix went into commission a second series of 8 episodes without Channel 4's involvement. The second series debuted globally on the streaming network in November 2016. Lovesick was filmed in numerous locations in and around Glasgow, Scotland. Most outdoor scenes were filmed in the West End of the city, and the series has featured Kelvin Grove Park and the University of Glasgow and Patrick. Despite the Glasgow location of the show, actor Richard Thomas, who played Mal, is the only main Scottish actor in the whole series. Now, originally the show was known as Scrotal Recall, but after its transfer from Channel 4 to Netflix, the show was renamed from Scrotal Recall to Lovesick. Antonia Thomas noted that while the former name technically made sense, it completely missold the tone of the show. Thomas admitted to being pleased with the name change and noted that the second series would continue to follow the same format as the first, but would go more in depth with the characters. Now, the show revolves around a group of university friends sharing a house in the West End of Glasgow and their romantic lives. After Dylan Witter, played by Flynn, is diagnosed with chlamydia, he attempts to contact all of his previous sexual partners to inform them of his diagnosis. Dylan lives with his best friends Luke Curran, played by Ings, and Evie Douglas, played by Thomas, the latter of whom previously harboured a secret crush on Dylan but has since moved on, recently becoming engaged. The majority of each episode is told through flashbacks, showing Dylan's encounters with a number of women, as well as the changes his friends go through. The third season, released in January 2018, focuses more on Dylan, Evie, and Luke's relationships with each other, and Angus, played here by Maguire's own personal problems. The cast includes Johnny Flynn as Dylan Witter, the protagonist of the show. He's vaguely inept romantic who goes from one casual relationship to another, usually expecting more than there is to offer. He works in landscaping as a garden designer and previously briefly worked as a barista. Luke refers to him as Dill or Dildo. His parents, Julian, played by Tony Gardner, and Janie, played by Siobhan Redman, appear in Season 3. Antonia Thomas as Evelyn Evie Douglas, Dylan and Luke's best friend. She is barbed, sarcastic, and usually single. Appears to have an underlying feelings for Dylan, although they are confused by the situation between them. Evie works as an illustrator and photographer, and she is engaged to Mel through the first and second series. Daniel Ings is Luke Curran, the best friend and flatmate of Dylan and Evie. He's feckless, irresponsible, and shallow. However, he has a strong affection for his friends, and often goes out of his way to help them. Luke works as an app developer for a company called Volcano Media. His mother is seen in a photograph in the Series 1 episode Crescendo, particularly because Luke and his mum previously shared the same haircut. Joshua McGuire as Angus Baker, a friend of Dylan, Luke and Evie's from university. He is slightly childish but appears to be the most intelligent member of the group with a background in mathematics. And Hannah Britland as Abigail Saunders, a barmaid at Angus and Helen's wedding and one of Dylan's former lovers. After he contacts her to inform her of his diagnosis, they resume their casual relationship, although not her main employment, though through the series she is a writer who wishes to have a career in storytelling. Now, for me, this honest approach is refreshing in a world of sitcoms that focus on glamorous casts with stunning backdrops, with heavily scripted storylines. Instead, here we have a down-to-earth, simple, and fundamentally easy-going show about love, life, and everything else, told through these 3 characters as we get to know them better throughout the series. Lovesick is all about keeping it real, and that's what makes this show work. There's no glitz, there's no glam, just an almost real look into these people's lives. And as with most British dramedies, you feel as if you're watching real life happen before your eyes. Dylan is a lovable character, but sometimes his whimsical nature and oversensitivity can annoy, but that's what makes him so human and so relatable. Johnny Flynn plays him perfectly, with depth, ease, and a charm enough to make him likeable, although sometimes irritating. The same goes for Evie. She's loving, caring, confused, and scared to tell Dylan of her true feelings, and their back and forth can be frustrating at times. But such as it is in life, timing is everything. And a lot of the show revolves around will they or won't they aspect to the story. Luke, for me, was the most fun and outlandish of the characters, but beneath all of his veneer is a lost, sad, lonely man trying to find a connection beyond his friendships. The later addition to the main cast is Joshua McGuire as Angus. He's quirky with his childish reasons, but he has a good heart and just wants to be accepted. And this goes fundamentally for the whole show. Each one of these characters is just looking to be accepted and to find themselves within their different lives. Now, one thing I'm so glad about is that they changed the name to Lovesick. I mean, Scrotal Recall is just an absolutely horrid name, and frankly, if I'd seen a show called Scrotal Recall, I definitely would have given it a miss. The initial premise of the story is Dylan having chlamydia, and therefore contacting all of his ex-lovers to let them know that they too may have this STD. And from the outset, you might look at that premise and say, oh, this is a show I'd give a miss. But frankly, this show goes so much deeper. It really is a show about self-discovery. And the show slowly steers away from this initial premise and becomes much more about the deep characters of Dylan, Evie, and Luke. I must just also point out Hannah Britland here as Abigail. She's excellent. It's a very demanding role, a lot of sadness to it, and she's caught in between these affections of Dylan and Evie. And she definitely has some of the more challenging acting aspects to this show. Down to earth, well acted, with a fantastic story, Lovesick will charm its way into your viewing pleasure. Lovesick gets a 9 out of 10.